Hi, welcome to Life Skills with Louie. I'm Louie, and today we're talking about an introduction to behavioral analysis. If you haven't watched the introduction to Connecting to Clear, please do that because it helps you to understand this section and what it's all about. And if you haven't watched the introduction to the entire video series, I encourage you to do that to understand all 5 areas of skills and when to use each of them. It helps you see the forest through the trees. So to dive right into an introduction to behavioral analysis, I have this little diagram here to help us be oriented to what are we talking about here. These 2 skills, behavior analysis and missing behavioral analysis, are the heart of the Connecting to Clear section. They are so utterly and deeply helpful for understanding behavior. Before you really have these skills internalized, and for those people who had caregivers who kind of did this naturally, you might already have this somewhat internalized. But for people who don't, what tends to happen is that they go to one or both extremes of having a lot of judgment or denial in regards to their behavior. They judge their own behavior super strongly, or they just are in denial and don't think about it, or they oscillate between the two, which is very common. Both of these positions make sense in a way. The intent is positive. You're trying to make a behavior go away, either by sort of judging it so that it goes away, or not thinking about it and just hoping it disappears. The only issue is that neither of these are effective. So this third balanced way is what we're talking about with behavior analysis and missing behavior analysis, which is that we look at the behavior, so we pay attention to it, and then we attempt to learn and grow from a deeper understanding of our behavior and all the different elements of it. I like to use the metaphor, coming back to a caregiver, that if we had a caregiver who sat with us when we had done a behavior that we wish we hadn't done and was just with us, hey, how did that happen? Like, I wonder what led from this step to this step, and really wondered and was curious about us and cared about our well-being and wanted to help us learn. That would have been an amazing thing. For most people watching this, it probably wasn't the case. We can learn to do that for ourselves. And that's the whole purpose of this section. So we're going to dive in and learn about these 2 skills, behavior analysis, missing behavior analysis. Behavior analysis is for analyzing a behavior. Missing behavior analysis is for when a behavior is missing. You wanted to do something and it didn't happen. If you're not really sure which one to use, you could try both of them and see which one works better. Sometimes it's a little complicated or confusing. Be sure to have help with this. This is if you're working with these skills, it's good to have a therapist that you're working with to help you with these skills, at least to get the hang of them. Someone who does cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, or dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT, are going to be pretty skilled in these. The last thing to say about these is it's all about repetition. You can do these in a journal, you can do these just in your head, but you do them more and more, and you find that you start to see what are called controlling variables, that the same thing pops up over and over again. And from that, you realize, oh, that's the thing that needs to change for this whole pattern to change. I also like to use the metaphor of a keystone in a building is stone that takes a lot of the weight and makes the whole structure work. And I found for myself that as I'm changing behavior and I'm thinking about it and I'm talking to others about it, I will eventually come to realize, oh, this is the real issue. This emotion keeps coming up, or this pattern of thinking keeps coming up. And then I'll shift that area, and then the behavior will truly change. So there's so much power in this skill. I wish you the best in using it, learning to get to know your behaviors and getting to know when a behavior is missing, what are the barriers to that. And I hope you find these skills helpful.